Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your game-related questions, and then I will give my humble opinion on them. To get the formats out of the way real quick, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below, or by sending me a Facebook and Twitter message. The first question for today comes from Scotty, and it is, do you think that they should add in more attachments into Rainbow Six Siege, like FMJ, stock, fast mags, etc.? The more I think about it, the more I like the idea of them flushing out the weapon customization, because what they have right now is very simplistic, but it also just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. There is literally no reason not to use the vertical grip on all of the guns that have it available to them. It gives you a flat bonus and doesn't have any negative quality associated with it. It's like, do I not use it and have an inferior weapon, or do I spend the very small amount of renown to have a better gun? Like what? How is that customization? That's not customization. That's just, I'm gonna get a better gun by choosing this option. Where's the grip that maybe gives you a better first shot recoil? Where's the grip that's maybe better for sustained fire? Kind of what we have in Battlefield. There's also weapon attachments that are worse than worthless. They actually put you at a disadvantage. The laser sight is the best example of this. If you're using the laser sight on your primary gun, you are putting yourself at a disadvantage. Sure, it's fine on maybe a shield user like Blitz, for example, on your pistol, because they're gonna know where you're coming from because you're very loud. But if you're putting this on your MP5, you're actually giving the enemy an incredible amount of information, and they're gonna be able to take you out because they can see the laser sight as soon as you start to round the corner. So why is that in the game the way that it is? The entire system feels tacked on. I kind of get the impression, and I'm probably wrong here, but I get the impression they're like, oh, we need to have weapon customization because every gamer loves weapon customization. It needs to be in our multiplayer game. Let's kind of just add something in the last second and call it good. Like, that's the impression that I get because it is so simplistic and it leaves a lot to be desired. And so I'm right there with you. Flushing this out could be awesome. Of course, it would cause more development. They would have to balance it out, and maybe that's the reason why they didn't add it on in. Maybe they just didn't want to have the headache of trying to balance out all these different attachments for every single gun. That does become much more challenging, but I feel like if you are going to have customization in your shooter, it at least needs to be worthwhile. Like, there needs to be substance there, and that's just not the case with Rainbow Six Siege. And so if they added in more variety of grips, maybe they added in, like you mentioned, maybe larger magazine sizes, faster reload, kind of like fast mags, kind of stuff like that. Maybe some ammo that's better at penetrating walls so it does full damage. Things to that nature, while you gotta balance it out, could be a nice step in the right direction. The next question comes from Coldboy, and it is, are you excited to play the new Doom game? Admittedly, I was pretty skeptical when I first laid eyes on Doom. The single player looked cool, I like what they were doing with that, but I kind of figured that the multiplayer was just gonna be something tacked on and not all that enjoyable. Then I played it the other day, and I streamed it for like 4.5 hours. There's only 2 maps in the closed beta right now, and a few weapons to choose from, but those 4.5 hours flew by. I was having so much fun. And while it remains to be seen if the game is going to be good at launch. I play on PC, and there are some PC issues. It does seem like it needs some work in that category, but I can forgive it because it is in a closed beta stage right now. Hopefully they're going to make the necessary adjustments, but I'm kind of waiting to see how many modes they have, how much customization and weapons are going to be available, because while I'm enjoying the game right now, only with the 2 maps and the weapons that we have, I was noticing that I was kind of yearning for more. I don't want this to become another Star Wars Battlefront where there's only a couple of maps and guns at release and it just kind of dies off because there just simply isn't enough content. What I am enjoying though is that all of the weapons feel distinctive from all of the others, and the combat itself is incredibly satisfying. When you're going on a rampage with the rocket launcher, there really isn't anything else like that. When you're lining up your shots, you're throwing grenades, getting multi-kills, blood is flying everywhere. The combat is very skill-based, it's very visceral, and when you're succeeding and you're doing well, you feel incredible. And so if you can't tell, I am really excited for Doom now. I'm crossing my fingers that there is going to be a lot of variety when the game goes live. I'm loving what they have right now. I'm just hoping that they don't drop the ball and deliver something that's lackluster. The next question comes from Colton, and it is, what do you think about an operator in Rainbow Six Siege on the offensive team that could deploy ladders on hatches, allowing for amazing flank opportunities? The ladder would not break the hatch, instead the operators would have to actually open it. Now, I know how absurd this might sound to people. A ladder in Rainbow Six Siege. You having a laugh right now. But honestly, the more I think about it, I kind of like the idea. I know, it sounds absurd, but I actually like this concept. First of all, it would open up different synergies between the classes and admittedly make some classes and operators better than they are right now. Buck's shotgun, for example, would allow him to open up the hatches from below. We would be able to use Ash's grenade launcher. Admittedly, Ash is already good right now, but she become even better with this synergy. Anyone with a shotgun is now going to be more useful with this new operator. The other reason why I like it is that being able to breach into a room or even just breach in from a different flanking route that the enemy is not expecting, especially in a stealthy manner like this, would open up a lot more interesting tactics that we don't really have right now. All that said though, I would be very surprised if Ubisoft did decide to pull the trigger and add in an operator that had this type of gadget. It's absurd. I don't even know how they would technically do it from a mechanical standpoint. Would you place it on a wall? Would you just kind of place it or unfold it so everyone can kind of climb on up? Like, it sounds ridiculous, and so I think it's for that very reason why we wouldn't see an operator like this in Rainbow Six Siege. I love the idea. I love the idea of having a different flanking route and allowing all of your team to take advantage of the gadget. Like, I love that teamwork aspect, but I'd be very surprised if we did have a ladder guy in the upcoming DLC. The next question comes from Ben, and it is, do you think they should be able to change the size of the reticle in Rainbow Six Siege for all of your weapon sights and decrease the brightness of the sights as well? Absolutely. I love this idea because it actually makes some of the other scopes a little bit more viable. The reason why I never touched the red dot sight with a 10-foot pole unless the weapon requires it is because that red dot itself is so massive that trying to take someone out at a medium distance, especially at long range, becomes much more challenging compared to the ACOG scope or the holographic scope. Because the sight itself is so large, trying to line up a headshot, which is what you want to do in Rainbow Six Siege, but pretty much their entire body is covered up with your red dot itself. It's like, how in the world am I going to be able to aim for their head? It's ridiculous right now. And so if I had the option to tone that down and reduce the size of it and the brightness, that would be a great step in the right direction. I could finally see myself using some of the other optics instead of the Solid 2, which everyone uses right now, which is the holographic and the ACOG scope, and kind of dabble into some of the others. The only thing I can think of for why they haven't done this already is maybe this was their weird way of balancing out the scopes. It's a pretty weird way of balancing out, in my opinion. But maybe they thought that if you had the ability to tone down the red dot sight, all of a sudden everyone would gravitate towards it because they would think that it was the best in the game. I don't think that's the case, but maybe that was their thought process. In general though, I love this idea. Hopefully Ubisoft has seen this criticism and that they're maybe taking some steps to add this feature into the game, because I think it'd be a great direction for the scope customization, and I could finally see myself using some of the other optics instead of just the two that I use right now. But yeah guys, that is about it for today's Sunday Mailbox. I hope you enjoyed. As always, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below or by sending me a Facebook and Twitter message. But until tomorrow, guys, have a good one and take it easy.